up to the very end, so I haven't seen the final the final effect, but I can't wait to see it. You're going to see some. I'm going to see some today too.
Were you like bummed out seeing the 35-year-old version of yourself in craft service? You could like eat carbs, and you were like, trying to.
Yeah, the guy was a real diva. He was coming on to Olivia all the time. I felt kind of down about that, but what are you going to do? I understood.
Well, now, Garrett, you, of course, play young Flynn, the son of Flynn, and they were mentioning earlier how they have the light cycle suits actually light up. Yeah. And so you basically did a movie where you're in a skin-tight suit the entire time. They didn't paint that on. That was real, right?
Well, at first they glued it on, but it's kind of the wardrobe of a lifetime, Where do you go from here? Jeans and a t-shirt would just never be the same anymore.
And then the light part was really lit up. You were wearing a suit that had live electricity pretty much going through it.
Yeah, the suit was like 3/4 inch of this sort of foam rubber, and there was a cord sort of splitting the difference all the way. So the more you sort of bend, the more you're going to rip, the more repairs happen, and the more you sort of hold up the process. So stand as straight as you can.
Yeah, exactly. And now Olivia, of course, exactly. You kind of are representing the other hot girls out there who are feeling very uncomfortable right now surrounded by geeks, but you play a very ambiguous, mysterious character who is sort of helping Garrett, but you sort of talk about Cora and what you think her agenda is.
Cora is an amazing character. It was such an honor to play a really powerful, tough, kick-ass woman in a movie like this. She's mysterious and smart, cool, and she's been a companion of Kevin Flynn's for a long time. And she's a fearless warrior, and I've always wanted to play a warrior, so I finally got to do that, and we got to learn how to fight, and it was just an incredible honor.
Now, anyone who was here last year, they showed footage of the martial arts stuff, and both of you guys, you and Garrett were both doing, what was that like did you have to keep in mind the special effects they were putting later, as well as actually doing the martial arts? How much martial arts did you do in the film?
We did a lot of martial arts training, and we did as many of our stunts as we could, but we also had an amazing stunt team from 8711 who made us look pretty badass. But I had to remember, I was training not in 4-inch heels, and then we started shooting the movie, and I was in 4-inch heels, so I had to learn to do all the kicks and flips and all that in the suit, which was a whole other thing, but I'm glad we did it. It's cool. Now I know how to do that.
Garrett, did you train for martial arts in the skin-tight uniform, or how did you have to keep that in mind?
There's a lot of intensive training that went into this. I think I started maybe the first week of January, and we didn't start filming until April 6th or so, and my character had to go through parkour training, leaping over obstacles and that sort of stuff, and motorcycle training, and also intensive physical training, with the 8711 group, and sort of hand-to-hand combat, sort of, all that. It was a tedious process, but you got to do this training to be able to, comply with this suit, and you got to have the strength to sort of, to defy the restrictions that maybe it may offer, but I think we did a pretty good job.
Now, Michael Sheen, you are British, you're adorable, you flew here in a magic teapot, you are sleeping under a magic dandelion leaf somewhere in the city, but you've done other intensive special effects movies where you're in basically fake environments and having to make it seem very real. Was this more or less intense than the others? And also, talk about your character. You and Olivia sort of share maybe a bit of ambiguity in your characters that you don't quite know where they stand. So,
first of all, big jinkies, there's a lot of you here. Wow. And also, I thought everyone was supposed to dress up as a character when they came, so I came as Jeff Bridges, and he shaved his beard off. What's going on? I've got used to living in a sort of slightly false reality because I live in LA now. So that helped with the film. And also, I'd like to correct something. It's actually a 4D film because Jeff Bridges brings an extra dimension of awesomeness.
Oh, yeah.
4D film. And I believe the 27-year gap between the two films, I think for Michael Douglas in Wall Street 1 and Wall Street 2, there was a 230-year gap. So I think that's the edge on it.
That's interesting. Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. But yeah, in terms of playing like in sort of the environment, the sort of creative fantasy environment, this, without doubt, beats everything else for me. In fact, coming down in the car yesterday, I had the schedule for the whole thing here, and just seeing the Tron logo at the top of it made me go, I'm in Tron! I'm in Tron! No. Because when I first saw the film, when I was like 11, it had a massive effect on me. So to end up here with these guys is just amazing.
Wow. All right, well then, with that in mind, let us go, of course, to Tron himself, Mr. Bruce Boxleitner. Just like, 27 years. How did you feel when the phone rings and like, hey, we're doing Tron Legacy, we need Tron back? Did you was your suit in the garage? Did you go get into it, or what did you do?
Well, I instantly threw my walker into the corner, and I felt like the old Tron again. I was absolutely thrilled when I did get that phone call. To revisit a character 27 years later is quite amazing. You don't get to do it very often. And to see where they went with Alan and the rest of the characters. So, I've been living in science fiction for a while now, so I know the CGI stuff pretty well, having had a space station for 5 years on television. So I do know looking at a little piece of tape on a green screen, I know exactly what that is. I've fought many space battles with those things. But this one takes it into a whole new dimension. I think you're all going to be very, very thrilled by it. I am. And I'm the biggest Tron fan there is, so...
Wow. Now, you and Jeff were talking a little bit backstage about, you actually kind of, you both sort of realized at the same time, the technology that existed when you guys first did Tron compared to how it is now, it was ridiculous.
There was no internet. Our phones we carried around in big suitcases.
Yeah.
Completely different world.
Yeah.
But looking back in those days, the same thing attracted me to the original as Tron Legacy, and that is getting a chance to play around with all of the technology that is cutting edge.
Yeah.
And of course, the technology that's used in this Tron makes the old one look like a old black and white TV show. this is pretty spectacular.
We had spandex tights.
Oh, yeah.
And a hockey helmet.
And don't forget
And we threw frisbees. Now they have these.
Don't forget our dance belts.
And the immortal dance belt.
The fans out there are going to want to get
first
those.
male
I think
thong.
they're available. The Tron dance belt.
Available at a booth just outside.